My name is Suzanne Wagner, and I wanted to talk today about a term and a class that I will be teaching at the Wild Women's Symposium called Terma Tantra. I've been on a tantric path for a very long time, and I have learned a lot of tools and systems that help us understand that our body is where we hold so much. We hold so much memory, we hold so much suffering and sorrow. I like to think of it as that when something is traumatic, we will drop it into our body so that we can keep functioning and we can keep moving forward. But in the dance of awakening, there is a tremendous amount of meditation that has to be done to learn a type of mental control so that you don't freak out when parts within start revealing themselves. And what I mean by that are past life parts, traumas that have happened in your life. And in the domain of Tantra, there was a tradition that said that you often had to meditate almost 20 years to learn enough discipline to even begin to have the discussion about Tantra. Most people think Tantra is about sexual positions, and in America, it gets kind of a weird stigma. But Tantra really means weaving. It means weaving the threads of your life and your reality, where you pull energy and light and matter together and you form your reality. You form your beliefs and you form the things that you want to move towards in this life. In the domain of Tantra, there was a secret system that were called Gtermas, and great teachers such as Padmasambhava and Milarepa would go to certain places and they would reveal treasures or secrets that had been hidden until the time had come on the planet for those teachings to be revealed. And these are beautiful, amazing stories and incredible teachings that you can explore. But one of the domains that seems to have gotten lost in Tibetan Tantra has been the influence of women dakinis and tantrikas in supporting these teachers in expressing their highest gifts. As you move through the different domains of Tantra, we'll start with meditation for a second. In Buddhism, they separate things into Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana Buddhism. In Hinayana, you go and you sit in a cave and you meditate and you become enlightened, and that's good. In Mahayana, which is the system of the Dalai Lama, you actually have to practice loving kindness, and you are not satisfied to just become enlightened yourself, that you recognize that there's suffering going on and you need to give back in some way to help alleviate the suffering of the planet. And then there's Vajrayana Buddhism. And in Vajrayana Buddhism, my Americanized interpretation of it is that there are positive energies that move through and there are negative energies that move through, but they both end up at the same place, and they're all divine and they're all God's light and love. So God's light and love moves through joy and art and creativity, and it's going one way to get to enlightenment. But the darker emotions such as fear, anger, resentment are actually still God's love and light, just moving through kinks and twists and quirks in human consciousness. And that if you are allowing yourself to move through those fully, that also will give you doorways into enlightenment. So what happens in the game of consciousness is that you start out and you go, I want to be enlightened, and you sit down and you meditate and you get this state of self-awareness. And as you become aware, you suddenly look out in the world and you see the suffering and you feel compelled to want to help that suffering. And then as you start to do that, you recognize where you are still suffering yourself. And you start to try and find the ways to unravel your own quirks and kinks. And so Tantra is about looking at those weavings and how those belief systems are hanging you up, or allowing you to flow. And life force energy is the domain of the feminine. And so women in general, because we have periods and menstrual cycles and we give birth, we're much more attuned to the darker emotions and our darker feelings. Sometimes we have a little trouble controlling them too. And I wanted to teach a class that was about recognizing that I believe that within everyone you have a secret teaching. You have a secret wisdom, a secret awareness that you want to share with people. And finding that wisdom is part of the journey, and then you can spend your whole life trying to figure out how to share that wisdom with others. So in the process of me learning Tantra and learning where I was blocked in my body, and there's many ways to unravel things related to the body. You can dance, you can move, you can sing, you can do mantras, you can meditate, you can use sexual energy as a way to move that energy up and through and flow. And through moving life force energy, you connect to a bigger spectrum and you become a portal, if you want to look at it that way, that as you open more and more to your authentic self and you do not judge any part of your authentic self, then you become a vehicle through which negative energies can be transmuted and moved through. So in Terma Tantra, the word comes from a Tibetan word that refers to a form of concealed treasures of many different kinds. Termas were uncovered as times of consciousness would change and expand, and I believe we're in one of those moments that's really profound and important. And it's only at certain times that certain things can be understood. So think of it like the souls that came down to help with computers waited to come down until there were computers. And right now, we're in such a huge time of transition. I think that humanity is wanting to understand some different things and explore some different things. And because we do have computers and systems that simplify our life and washing machines, this is a very important personal process of self-discovery right now, that you have an opportunity to expand the knowledge within your being and to discover the capacity within you to decipher that information in a way that can be shared with others. So if you're willing to open to intuitive sexual awareness within you, you might be really interested in my class. Obviously in this class it's not, quote, sexual. We'll be doing meditations and we're going to try and figure out how to expand the intuitive sexual awareness within you. And then weave these threads of the Tantra life force energy in new ways to expand you to find your gifts and your tools and your skills. And it's really about looking how to expand love. And love is in many different forms, and some of you might feel that energy in a sexual sense, but you might feel that energy in a total heart sense or a sense of inspiration. And I want you to discover the boundlessness of your own heart. Many years ago, when I was doing my own inner work, I started to discover some breathing patterns that for me were very, very profound. And those breathing patterns I didn't find in any yogic sutras or other places. And so I called it Dragon Tantra. You might also want to call it Naga Tantra. And I believe that there's inside, especially women, like an inner dragon that is trying to express itself and get out. Women in Tantra, well, I should say it like this, the great teachers, the feminine teachers of Tantra, many of them have been lost in history, and many texts have been destroyed or hidden. And I believe that They went out into the air. They went out into the wind. They went out in songs. They went out in poetry. And I had an experience where I was meditating and I could hear something that the Buddhists call twilight language, which we will be discussing in the class. Twilight language is a hidden language, and it's because it's not a language like I'm speaking to you. It's a language of art, song, silence, stillness. In our busy world, I think we have forgotten to listen to the twilight languages, and it is the art of the feminine that can bring that back. I think musicians are very dialed into twilight languages. I think that poetry is one of the doorways to twilight languages, but those languages are very personal. It's more experiential in nature rather than verbal in nature, and I believe that there are many of you out there that have had experiences that it was very difficult to even explain or discuss it with somebody, and almost when you explained it, it diminished it or lessened it in some way. I believe that the feminine language is the twilight language. It is that language of energy that women have when they look across the room at another woman, and there's a message that is passed in the eyes. So this is what we're trying to dive into in this class on Terma Tantra at the Wild Women's Symposium. We will be discussing what it is. We will be doing some meditations and exercises to help you dive into maybe these hidden secret parts of yourself. We will be doing the breath pattern of what I call the Dragon Tantric breath and lineage. And hopefully then afterwards you will have a creative flow that will start to emerge, or an awareness of your personal secrets, your personal gifts, maybe the reason that you're here. And then from that point on, it will be your journey to discover how to share that and give that. So I want to share with you two of my personal termas that came out as poetry. And this one is called The Call. And I read this to you so that you can feel inside of yourself the part of you that is calling you to wakefulness. Do not give up. The race is already won. You cannot see the place where I know you are already done. In sleep, you journey there. In the darkness, you breathe freedom's air. It is only in your mind that you are lost. It is only your ego that believes that love costs. You are divine and you are the light. Within you is a force that burns so bright. You cannot give up. The angels have not. They whisper in your ears and tell you the plot. The story you wove to wake yourself up, if unraveling, is unraveling itself because you have made it tough. There is no need to make it so hard. Let go of all the story and the drama will discard. In life, all you need to know is what is inside, and let go of all that ego's pride. You are not alone. You have never been. Now wipe off that frown and let me see you grin. This was a good one, a perfect ploy, a believable creation for yourself to enjoy. But now it is time. You must awaken, you see. There is so much more, but you have to agree. Agree to let go. Agree to come home. Agree to awaken. Agree to let your spirit roam. We are waiting. Can't you hear our call? When your destiny comes, will you run or crawl? You are almost there. Come close and see. Look beyond the veil and set yourself free. So this poem I wrote many, many years ago, and this was one of my termas, and I realized that my gift in life was to help women awaken and to help them move into their highest self and their greatest essence. I hope that you would like to be interested in discovering that at the Wild Women Symposium. And I've created the Wild Women Symposium, which is really a tantra. It is a weaving of all the great tools and teachers, all the skills that I have found have had great merit, to give you a chance to explore, to uncover those secret termas. So really, the whole Wild Women Symposium is going to be about giving yourself permission to find your termas. But in this class, we're going to really, really focus hard on that, and we're going to see if it works. We're going to see if it's going to be something that the other women can integrate and move towards in an open, loving-hearted space. So in final closing, I would like to just give a poem that is another terma of mine that's called Dancing Lotuses. I hope you enjoy it. Dancing lotuses drink the light. Diamond scepters burn the night. Deep inside, a spark grew, fanned a flame, and then merged two. Non-duality is of one, heart and soul becoming love. As the mountain she can hold, trees and rivers, caves of gold. Will you go beyond the past, become her fire's burning ash? I call the mandala to this time, sculpted from enclosing minds. Gods and demons churn the stars, empty bliss from afar. Surging nectar stops the mind, allowing flow of God's divine. Every sigh from this precious dove rewards ablaze her gaze with love. White rain drips from the conscious sky into scarlet oceans burning bright. Crows then drink all the sap from the trees where rivers nap. Do not grasp or you will miss the final union and empty bliss. Dissolve attachment into the air, only then find the stair. 9 doorways will you find, and then the winds can combine. So this class I am really excited about. I have spent many, many years wanting to teach this class. I even many years ago put out a website about it, and it was just a little early. It was just a little bit before its time. If you're a woman that knows inside of you there is something burning to get out, if you believe that there is a message or a gift that you have to give, and something inside of you is compelling you to figure out how to unravel that, what I'm going to do in this class is try to unravel those things. And it will start a discussion, because in this class we are just simply doing a teaser. This type of journey is something that takes years of personal work to uncover and evolve. But I wanted to crack the door and see if there are other women out there that feel inspired to explore in the shadow of your deepest self. After all, in all great myths and stories, the greatest treasure is always hidden in the darkness. But the darkness is not bad. The darkness has been protecting something of great value. Let's do it together. Let's do it as a group of women together that then can empower each other to go forward in their gifts and their beauty and their light. Thank you very much. I hope you come to my class. Bye.